Welcome to Allie You, the business success and lifestyle show. Today, we are going to talk about all things law of attraction, manifesting, the life that you want, the career that you want, the finances, the relationship, whatever it is, you can have it. And before I bring on my incredible guest, you're going to be blown away by this woman. I want to remind you that my brand new book is coming out, Scale or Fail. And so for all of you business owners, you've gotten your business to here, but what about taking it to here, to that next level? So I'm going to share my Scale It method with you, and that book will give you a solid plan to amplify your business and your life. All right. So you can go ahead and get that on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and then we'll also put a link below. All right. And remember, this podcast, Allie You, is on all the major platforms out there, and it's on iTunes. Go ahead and subscribe, and we would love to hear your feedback about the show. All right, so today I'm super excited. I was talking a second ago about law of attraction and manifesting. Well, I have the world expert on this topic with us today. I am truly blessed, and her name is Christy Whitman, and Christy is a transformational leader, celebrity coach, New York Times best-selling author twice. And she's the author of The Art of Having It All, A Woman's Guide to Unlimited Abundance. Her new book that is coming out, we're going to talk about that today because I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It is being released on September 25th. And so if you're listening to this show past that time, then the book is there for you now. And it is being released by a division of Simon & Schuster, and it is called Quantum Success, 7 Essential Laws for a Thriving, Joyful, and Prosperous Relationship with Work and Money. And I know all of you would love to have more wonderful vibes around all of that. Christy has appeared on the Today Show, the Morning Show, and she's been on People Magazine, 17 Magazine, Women's Day. My goodness, she is all over the place. And she is the CEO and founder of Quantum Success Learning Academy and Quantum Success Coaching Academy. And actually, one of my team members is a member of her program, which is so awesome. And so I'm so excited to have you here. Christy, welcome.
Thank you, Allison. I'm so happy that I'm with you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, so, we've known each other like about a year now, and I've been wanting to get you on the show. So I'm glad that we were able to get our schedules together and make it happen. So, I love how you have shifted on this path of manifesting your life, living on purpose, all of these wonderful things that you talk about. But I would love to hear, how did you get here? Was there a pivot in your life? Did you, I'm sure there is a story. So I would love to hear that backstory.
Yeah, so it was about 21-ish years ago. I kind of would check the box of all the things that I was told that would make me happy. Go to college, get a degree, get a career, make money, have the body, get a guy, all those things. And I had everything. And if you were to look at my life, and as I looked at my life, it's like all the boxes are checked, but I feel so unfulfilled. I feel so unhappy. And I was really searching. I remember being in Chicago, living there at the time, and going back to a Catholic church because that's what I was raised as, Catholic, And I remember being in the church and going, yeah, not here. This isn't it, And that was really depressing because it was like, okay, this is my last ditch effort to try to find some type of fulfillment. And I ended up moving to California for a guy that I was dating, and had a career, just lateral move in my company. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me because one of the people that I met was a woman named Janine. She was a hairdresser, and she had such a light about her. And I didn't have that language at the time, but I'm like, what do you do? like, I just kept looking at her and I'm like, she seemed so like she was bubbling with joy. And I kept asking her, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I need to ask you, like, what do you do in your life? Like, what is it that you do? Because you look so joyful, like you look so lit up. And she said, I meditate, and, you know, I go to this spiritual teacher that teaches me light body. And I'm like, I need her number. I was just like, I mean, you know, I felt like it was like in Harry Met Sally, you know, that scene where she's like, I'll have what she's having. That's how I felt. I was like, I want what she has. And so she gave me her phone number, and I was literally dialing on my cell phone as I was walking out of the salon. And so the first time I met with Melanie, she said something to me that resonated with me. And I don't know why, it felt like truth, but she said, you create your own reality. And I went, why does that seem right? That seems so true. But how? And so I was so intrigued. And then she continued on and she said, you know, you're either repelling things from you or you're attracting things to you. And again, this is 21, 22 years ago. So it wasn't like everybody was talking about it. It wasn't like the internet was huge and big and you could just go and, you know, hear about universal laws. So I was like, well, what do I have to do? And she's like, start paying attention to your thoughts. And I started paying attention to my thoughts. And oh my God, I was so negative. I was so judgmental, not only about myself, but about life, about everyone in life. Critical, you know, just beating myself down on everything. I was so like hard on myself, and nothing was ever good enough. And so I started just shifting those thoughts one by one and those beliefs. And as I got this like soul thirst for this information. And of course, because I was so hungry for that and so thirsty for that, I was attracting different people and situations and books and, you know, where I was learning about it. And it was about 5 years in where I put it all together. I'm like, it's really about these 7 essential laws. And so I started to really deliberately apply them in all aspects of my life. And I wrote this in the book, Quantum Success. You know, I was 5 years in, I saw amazing things manifest. I was dating a really great, nice guy because I always went for the bad guys. You know, I had gained like 30 pounds and I was back into my, you know, perfect ideal weight and body for me. You know, my career was thriving. I had money in the bank. Everything was going so well. But at that point, it's like, I felt good. I felt a totally different feeling than I felt when I was living in Chicago and felt really empty. And it's because I was creating my life from the inside out instead of the outside in. Right. And it was around that time that my very first book literally downloaded through me. And so from that place, I started speaking and I learned about life coaching, and I had no idea that this existed. When people would say, are you a life coach? I'd be like, that exists. Like, that's a profession. People get paid to do that. And so I started doing it and I loved it, went to school for it. And I just continued to follow that path and continue to apply the universal laws in my life, like I still do to this day. So that's how I live my life.
Wow. What a story. I mean, talk about synchronicity of, you know, ask, but the thing is that you were in a place of discontent. Yes. And you were out of alignment, as you would say, right?
Yes.
And then, right, the universe puts that person in front of you. But if you didn't have your eyes open at that time, you know, you had to actually take the action and say, you know, I'm all in. Yes. But yeah, wow, what an incredible story. And really back then you weren't hearing about law of attraction. So that was, I'm sure, a real stretch.
It was, and it was exciting too, because it was like nobody else was talking about it. And when I started talking about it to people, everybody was like looking at me like I'm crazy, you know, and they're like, what are you talking about, law of attraction? You know, and I'm like, I'm telling you, I think of something and it starts to manifest. And they're just like, what do you, it was like, I was speaking French to them and they were like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And so, you know, I just kind of kept to myself and doing my own thing. And that's when, you know, people that were I was a pharmaceutical rep at the time, and I was winning like all these awards and accolades. I was constantly getting on stage, and people on my team are like, what are you doing? And this one girl, Letitia, she's my very first paid client I ever had. She's like, what are you doing? And I want you to teach me. And I was like, okay. And so I remember the time when she hired me, I was $65 an hour. And I was like scared to tell her that, right? Because I was making over $100,000 a year in corporate America, but for her to come to me as a coach and
right.
you know, to do that, it was like, oh my God. Cause now it's like, it's so personal. I'm selling myself sort of thing. And, but just in a very short period of time, within 12 weeks, she was on the top of the corporate, you know, scale. And she was in the top 10% of the company. And it was such a rewarding experience to see. It's like, wow, this isn't just me. This is really universal. It works for every single person if you apply it. So
yeah, and so and that's just such a good point. And so I want to dive into it because I know everyone's like, what? They're on
what?
What are those 7 spiritual laws? So tell us about the book first, because and I know because we're going to really dive into some pieces of it, but then people can go get the book and learn, you know, find out more.
So for me, and the way that Simon and Schuster even talk about it, is that this book is like The Secret, but for your career and money. And for me, you know, this was my journey. One of the areas that I've been able to easily apply the universal laws, especially the law of sufficiency and abundance, and we can talk about it and go into that, is into my career and with money. And so I never go write a book. I don't know what your process is, Allison, but I mean, since I became a New York Times bestselling author twice, I have my literary agent coming to me going, what's your next book? And I'm like, it hasn't shown itself to me yet. Yeah. And so I was in the middle of a cruise ship, 3:00 in the morning, and all of a sudden I get woken up and I get the download. And so I get up, my family, you know, we're in a family suite. I have a boy in this room, a boy in this room. My husband's in our room. The only place I have to go is the bathroom, which on a cruise ship, even if you have a suite, is not very comfortable or big. Yeah. So I'm putting towels down because I know I've got this download coming. So I sit on the floor and it just, and all the stories and all the steps and all the processes just came through. And that's how I read the book. But the crux of the book really is about 2 things. It's about alignment and momentum. So it's really about aligning yourself with the desires that you have. They're coming from somewhere, and to really allow them and to believe in them and to take the action steps, because we always have to take action. People talk about, law of attraction. Oh, that doesn't work. You sit around and meditate or look at a vision board. No, we are physical people. We have to take action in this universe. Sorry to burst people's bubbles, but it's true. We're both metaphysical and physical. So when you can align the metaphysical part of you and take the physical action steps, that is the sweet spot. Like that's the juice and that's the formula. And so that's what I wrote about in Quantum Success.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that story that you were in the bathroom and it downloaded. I just finished my book as well, and there was definitely parts that were written in the bathroom. When the inspiration came, and we were on vacation too, and I'm like on the floor typing. There's something about the bathroom, I don't know, but where you can get the privacy, right? And this is so fantastic. So congratulations first on.
Thank you.
And so let's talk. I want to dive into some of the principles of the book, because I do think that there is a lot of confusion about these principles. And I also think sometimes people start to apply them and maybe they feel like, well, I'm not getting traction. I don't really see results. And it's very easy to fall back into our old habits, right?
Yes.
And so tell us you talk about how to create this upward spiral of success by understanding what you just said, alignment and momentum. Can you share that?
Yeah, so absolutely. So when I like to, let me back up, and it's like when we as the human being, like receive a idea, we receive a desire, we're inspired by someone or something, right? We get that feeling of like, ooh, I'd love to do that. But one of 2 things that either happens. We either go, ooh, I'd love to do that. What do I need to do? And how do I learn about that? What are the steps I have to take? And we just allow that to start bringing us in the direction that we want to go. Or we go, oh my God, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, who am I to do that? Oh, it's already been done before, and so we cut off that complete divine download, that divine connection. And when we do that, we cut off everything, right? So it's like we're now out of alignment, because that part of us, that the giver that gives us those ideas, is always about possibilities and potential, is always about abundance, is always like, if there's an idea that you have in your mind, there's, I mean, unlimited ways to manifest it and create it. So when we can follow those divine impulses and say, you know, God, I would just love this in my career. I would love this as far as my financial relationship or my financial status, or, you know, the money in the bank, or however you want to define it. And we feel good about it. And then we still know that it's possible. So the way I like to think of it is your thoughts, your beliefs, how you feel, what you say, what you do is all in alignment with that possibility. And one of the ways that you create that upward spiral of success is you need to feel the success that you want to experience before it actually manifests. Because we're trained, I mean, as human beings, and I don't know how this happened, it's like it's so inverted. You know, we're trained that if you want to be happy, or you want to feel successful, or if you want, you know, love or whatever it is, you have to go out and get it. If you find the guy, then you're going to have the love. If you have the money in the bank, then you're going to have the security or the freedom or whatever it is, right? If you have this certain position, then you're going to feel successful. And it's actually backwards. We need to be able to feel what we want, because the reason we want any of the stuff anyway is because we think we're going to feel a certain way. So we're constantly assigning our own joy, our own happiness, our own success, whatever it is that we're desiring outside of ourselves. And, you know, it's like, I don't know about you, but I can't remember. I tell you so many times where it's like, ooh, it's this thing. I remember when I became a New York Times bestselling author, and I'm like, I was assigning my level of like, that's it, you know, to that. Right. And so I did everything. I aligned, I took all the momentum. I got there and I was like, well, it's not here either. You know, it's like, it's not here. So it's not a destination we get to. It's a feeling essence we have to cultivate. And when we do that, when we come from that place of fulfillment or success or whatever it was we're wanting, we are more attractive to those things. And we're more of a vibrational match to it.
So we really have to feel it right now. It's really about connecting to the joy, the gratitude, feeling enlivened now, and then that, whatever that is that you desire, comes out of that, instead of just the desire and waiting for the joy on the other end.
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's funny because we do this all the time, but one of the laws that I talk about, because sometimes people look at, 7 essential laws, you have to apply all these laws. Oh my God, that's so daunting, right? And it can be when you think like 7 laws, but the one law that pulls them all together, that is the Mac Daddy of the laws, it's not law of attraction. Law of attraction is just mirroring what you're giving out vibrationally, where energy tower is sending out a signal all day, every day. The law of attraction is just going, okay, that's the signal. The law of sufficiency and abundance, that's the one to tune into. That's the one that changed my life, has completely changed who I am, my thinking, my perspective. Because the Cliff Note version of this law is that if you feel bad, you're in lack. If you feel good, you're in abundance. And however you feel about any subject in your life, whether it be money or relationships, your career, that's the side of the spectrum you're on. So if we're feeling bad when we think about money, we're in lack. And it's our own programming, our own thought process, our own perspectives that need to shift in order for the outer reality to match that. Because you cannot attract abundance from a place of lack. So getting into the doorway into abundance is being in that space of satisfaction, being in that place of sufficiency. And how do you do that? You find the positive aspects, you find the gratitude, you find the appreciation for what is right now, the fulfillment of what is right now, while looking towards what you're wanting to create with enthusiasm and excitement and great hope and, you know, just expectation and all of that. That's the formula. It's like, you cannot attract this from over here. It's too far of a vibrational match, and the universe won't support that.
And what do you say to the person that says, I'm doing all that, Christy? I'm meditating, I'm getting into this space, I'm taking all the steps, I'm working towards it, I'm feeling good around it, and it's just not happening.
I'd say you're screwed. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just not going to
it's okay. Is it still something unconscious that's blocking?
No, what I want to say is that you have to understand that, you know, a lot of people, they learn about law of attraction, say that they're doing so much, right? They've done the vision boards and they're doing the affirmations and they're doing the meditation and nothing's changing. And the reason is because, you know, deeper in what you've seen and experienced and we've talked about is my healing work, is that what happens is we as human beings get set points. You know, we get bushwhacked on certain situations, circumstance, events that happen in our life. And if we create some type of block or some type of meaning, some type of like absolute limited belief around a subject. So for example, around money, people have so many limiting beliefs around money. If we are holding to that, no matter how much work we're doing, if energetically you're blocking your abundance, you can never attract it. And so we have, because everything is energy. I mean, modern science has shown that, quantum physics has proven it. Everything is energy, from the space between molecules and atoms, everything from the human being to the table to, you know, whatever it is, everything is energy. And when you really come from that place that everything is energy and you're looking at your circumstances and situations, it's like, what energy am I giving out? Or what energy am I constricted? Because I like to think of it as, you know, we're kind of looking at life and we're going through life, and you look at a child, right? They feel something and then they cry, they get angry, they process their emotion, and then they're done. They're free and clear, right? Us as adults, and those of us that didn't maybe, you know, weren't raised with conscious parents, you know, we're told don't cry. If you cry, I'm gonna give you something. If you don't stop crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Little girls shouldn't be angry. So we've suppressed all of our emotions, and our emotions are our energy. So if we've got a set point of anger where anything and everyone, the only emotion you allow yourself to feel is anger, for example, there's a tiger in there that's blocked. Yeah. And it's like you're creating from that blocked energy, because say that you get something bushwhacked, right? And you get this block, we are now creating and seeing everything from that pain point. And it's like a caged animal, because energy can't just stop. It can't just disintegrate. Energy is always constantly moving. So it's creating a vortex, and that vortex is setting up our thoughts, our beliefs. Then we see evidence of it and we go, see, it's true. And then that becomes our perspective and how we hold the world, what we make things mean. And we create, and we continue to create. You try to put affirmations on top of that, unless you're moving the energy, unless you're releasing that block, it is hard for people.
Yeah. So you really need to, and I know you give a lot of this in the book, and so that's the place to start. And then, you know, going deeper and really working to release some of those old things that could be blocking them. Now, you also talk about, you have this formula for creating success as an inside out approach. It's probably, you know, some of what we were just talking about, but, you know, how's that different than a traditional strategy of just like, you know, I'm going to set my goal and I'm going to go after it and make it happen?
So the way I like to think of it is this, you know, we set a goal, right? We're here and we go, oh, I want to be here. So whether you call it an intention, a goal, a desire, you know, whatever it is, this place, whether, let's just say you making $100,000 a year and you want to make $150,000 a year, it's all subjective. So it doesn't matter what it is. So put in your own numbers or whatever your desire is. This has a different vibration than this. And so what's going to happen as you create an intention, as you set that goal, whatever is not of this vibration is going to rear its ugly head, and it's going to go, hey. And so all the beliefs that you have that are against this or blocking you from this are going to come up, because consciousness works that way. Awareness works that way. It's working for you. So all the negative beliefs, all the limiting beliefs are going to come up in order for us to look at them and then shift them. So one of the best ways that I share with people is that when you have something you're looking at that you don't want, we're so accustomed to focusing on what I don't want to gain weight. I don't want to be caught in traffic. I don't want to lose my business. I don't want to, you know, I don't lose my keys. We're always focused on what we don't want. Right. And the key is that when contrast happens, that's what I call what we don't want. We need to ask ourselves 3 questions. All right, what do I want? why do I want it? And that why is really important, because as you start listing and really thinking of the things that reasons why, you're shifting the vibration. And as you're doing it for a longer period of time, law of attraction is shifting the energy around it. So what do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I want to feel? That's that inside out approach instead of the outside in. How do I want to feel? Okay, when I'm making $150,000 versus $100,000, how will I feel? I'll feel freer. I'll feel like I have more choices. I'll have more security. What's the bottom line feeling? I will feel free. So really what you're wanting is that feeling sense of freedom. So think about times when you felt free. Think about, even if you've never felt free before, what would that feel like? What would that look like? Who would you be? Who would you hang out with? What would you do? All those things, and cultivate a consistent vibration of that feeling of freedom, and your outer reality has to change. It's universal law. Works for every single person.
I love that. I love that, on getting to the feeling, but also the why. I think it's like, okay, yes, I want to be able to have that $150,000 or that perfect relationship, but it's like, what's the driver of it? That underneath, right? Because that's, I think, where probably all the best energetic vibes are going to be, is from that why.
That's where the soul force is. That's where it's like, that's what lit you up in the first place. And anytime you're feeling that space of, oh, I'm so lit up, I'm so turned on by this, it's coming from a much deeper place than just the personality.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. Now, also, again, I keep saying this, it's all in your book, Quantum Success, is that you're saying that we can attract anything as long as we adjust the frequency of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And I know some of you out there listening to this going, Allison, is this really true? Can all these things happen? And so I want you to answer that. But let me just say, I teach business strategies all the time and scale strategies. The number one strategy out of all of the marketing, the sale, all the things we do, is in what we're talking about here, what Christy shares all the time in law of attraction and all the principles that she shares. It's really how I attracted my soulmate. It is how I've been able to really attract the people in my life that have helped me take the business to the next level, how I bring in opportunities. So you can think of it's a bunch of hooey, but I'll tell you, you're really missing out by not tapping into this, because it is available to everybody. And it's also, too, Christy, what I love is it's not just about attracting things you want. It's really that you do have the power to choose how you feel in any given moment, right?
Absolutely. And, I love what you're saying, because it's like, none of us argue, is there gravity, right? And you and I are not sitting here thinking about gravity in order to keep our bodies in our chairs. Gravity is happening, whether we're aware of it or not, whether we're talking about it or not. But it really is very important to know, if you're at the side of a cliff or the side of a building, that if you continue to walk past it, you're going to go splat. So it makes sense as a human being to understand and know and apply them. The universal laws are the same thing. If you're feeling bad, you are somehow in lack or limitation. And the divine part of you, the part of you that knows better and that is always in alignment with abundance, will never agree with that lack part of you. So you're in a place of disconnection. That's where there's misalignment. And to your point, Allison, it's like, as I was saying earlier, strategies and marketing and all those things, they're important because it's physical stuff. The desk, the person, we're all very physical. But there's something so much more going on here. What I talk about in Quantum Success is that if you think about all the days that you've been on this planet, all the days that you've been in your human body, all the conditions that you've had, all the successes and the triumphs and the so-called failures or the mistakes or missteps or, the heartbreaks and the falling in love and all the emotions that you had, the times you got in trouble as a kid and all the things your parents said or didn't say, on the nonverbal, all of that leading to the point that you are right now is only 4% of who you really are.
Wow.
4%. Like 96% is the non-physical, is the multi-level dimensional part of who we are. So to negate it, you're going to just go ahead, but you're going to work a lot harder, because
Yeah.
taking all those strategies and doing all that marketing, if you're thinking it's not possible, or you're not the one, or that you're not enough, or, you know, success is just, you're never going to be able to have the success you want. If you're in lack and limitation and you're trying to take the steps forward, there is no flow. And so
Yeah.
you're going to work really hard. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be overworked. You're going to be like, why is this not working for me? You know, and most of us are, most human beings are. And that's the thing, is like, when you start to put this into action and apply both, it's both and. That's when you've got the right marketing person that shows up with the right strategy, so that you're not trying to like take a bunch of spaghetti and throw it up to the wall and see what sticks. It's aligned action.
Yeah.
So you're using this effort and energy, and there's a flow, and it's guiding you towards what you do want.
Right. And if you are in that right flow, absolutely, you're going to be more successful with the other things, the other strategies that you're using. So I love all this. So let's see, what I was going to ask you about is that this adjusting the frequency. Let's get back to that. The thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Let's say that you are having a bad day, or something traumatic has happened and you do get thrown off. All right. That's life. We still have the power to get back into that place of alignment. So what do you recommend that we do?
Just those 3 questions is a great place to start. What do you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want to feel? Because if you're going on your day and someone cuts you off in traffic, right? And you're frustrated, it's like, okay, what do I want? You know, I really would like courteous drivers around me. I would like to get on the road and feel like the roads are open. I would like to, you know, whatever it is, why you would want it. I want my drive from here to there, from work, whatever it is, to be fun. I want to enjoy my drive. I want to enjoy this time for myself. I want to feel peaceful. You know, you're focused now in a completely different direction, unless you're like, oh, I want to feel peaceful. Yeah, that's possible in LA to be driving in traffic. You know, I drove, it was crazy. Like the things that are possible, that when I tell people these kind of stories, they're like, that doesn't even make sense. How is that possible? On a Friday night in August last year, I drove from San Diego to LA. I was there within 2 hours and 15 minutes at 6 o'clock on a Friday night. I got 20 minutes into LA and I realized that I had left my jewelry box at the hotel in San Diego. So I had to turn around, right? Not fun. I could have been really bitchy and, you know, not had a good time. I was like, okay. So I went back to San Diego, had a nice dinner there, turned myself around. So now we're talking, it's 7 o'clock on a Friday night in August. Same thing, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I saw the traffic up ahead of me and I never had to brake. There was nobody next to me. There was nobody behind me. And I'm literally going, this is like crazy. And I'm recognizing, I even called our friend Natalie Ledwell. I'm like, I'm driving LA right now on a Friday night in August. And she's like, that's impossible. I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing lights ahead of me and I'm not pushing on my brakes.
Yeah. They're all like, let's get out of the way. Christy's
quantum field.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So, I mean, things like that just seem impossible become possible because I pre-pave what I want and what my experience is. And so I'm in the car. It's an opportunity for me to be with me, to listen to fun music, to call a girlfriend, you know, to do whatever I want to do to make whatever I'm doing a pleasant, fun experience.
Yeah, exactly. So that is that power bringing joy into the moment. And again, this does apply to any area of your life, right? And so,
every area. Yes.
Well, I just think this is so awesome. And, you know, I do want to touch on one thing because I know that you can be in a really good space and you're doing this, and then someone comes into your energy field in your life that you work with, family member that is like has this negative kind of toxic energy. And as hard as you may try, they just tend to trigger you. How do you deal with those situations?
Well, I used to call that mother-in-law and sister-in-law or and my old boss at my old job. It's a great question, and it's real. And, you know, and there is like that, just because you apply these laws and you align and you take momentum doesn't mean that you're not going to experience contrast or people that are rude or say things that are unconscious. It's our reaction to them that we have to take responsibility for. Because if we are reacting and getting upset about something, we're not neutral. And that's an opportunity. It's that whole example here, right? If I'm getting reactive to something that someone says or does, that's mine to own. That's it's triggering some other pain point in me. It's triggering something inside of me that needs to be transformed or transmuted. And when you do that, and when you have that level of awareness, then it's like they can try to push your buttons, or you can be around negativity. And it's like, you understand that it doesn't need to affect you. So getting to that place where you're neutral to other people's energy is really becoming masterful of your own energy. And that's, I mean, it takes time. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I still have to really center myself before I get in front of my sister-in-law, for example, who is probably one of the most negative people on the planet. And I could say that because she's never going to watch this, because she's not even a vibrational match for this kind of information, right? But she's very negative, and it used to really upset me. And the things that she would say would be really hurtful and very unconscious things that she would say. And I'm like, does she not know? Does she not hear what's coming out of her mouth? You know, and it used to knock me off, but it was my own reactions to it that I needed to work on. So now when she says something, I'm like, well, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm just neutral to it. But that takes work.
Yeah. And so you're really just letting it be her stuff. You're just not taking it on or engaging and accepting, like, this is who she is, right? So you don't have to get sucked into it. So that's great. Well, gosh, this is so awesome. And it's been a blast having you on here. And so I encourage all of you to go out and get Christy's book. And we're going to give the link, I believe, because you're going to be giving this away as a gift.
I am. So that's my gift to you, is that I'm going to be giving this hardback book. It's worth $26. And all I just ask that you pay for the shipping. So you just go to quantumsuccessbook.com, and you'll see the information there. And like I said, I'll pay for the book, and you just take care of the shipping, and then it'll be on the way to you when the book releases on September 25th.
Awesome. Well, we'll put the link below, and so that everybody can grab it. I mean, what a gift. I mean, talk about synchronicity. You've tuned on to Allie You, and now we're giving you the keys to manifest anything that you want in your life, and to just bring more joy and gratitude and love into your universe. So that is a wonderful gift. Thank you for doing that, Christy, for everybody. And this has been great. And, you know, I know these things, and it's like you need that reminder. You know, even me, I live by this stuff, and to be able to have that reminder, as you know, because it's been lots happening here in the business world, to just take a moment and go, take that breath and get back in alignment. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Allie, for having me on.
Yeah. All right. So everyone, until next time, you can find us on all platforms. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes. Go to subscribetoallie.com and go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, put yourself out there and elevate yourself. You are worth it. Bye, everybody.